In this video, I'm going to show you how to use our Procreate sketch templates to create gorgeous sketches for your clients every time. So when you purchase the sketch templates, you'll get this download and you'll have the full sketch templates, also the solids and also the sketchy separated out. This is because depending on the make of the iPad that you have, you'll have a different number of layers you're allowed to use in Procreate. So if you're having trouble with the main one, then you can just download solid or sketchy, or if you just want to use solid or sketchy, I'll show you what that means in a sec, then you can just download one of those two options or download them separately. You also have these 5 options for the Gammon cards and pockets and Princewell swatches that you can download as well. When you download these, you'll save them to your files. And when you go into your files, you'll see your swatches. You can just grab them, and if you drag them over here and you have Procreate open, then it will just go ahead and import those into Procreate. So when you go into colors, palettes, you'll see we have Gammon. We just added that palette a second time. We have the cards and pockets palettes, and then we also have the Princewell palettes here. So those colors will be there for you to grab whenever you need them. You'll import the templates in the same way, and I would recommend creating one that you have that you don't delete and then kind of copying over most of the time when you want to create a new sketch. You don't have to copy it over every single time, but it's a good idea to just keep one that you never sketch on so that you don't have to re-download and install. I really want you to make these templates your own, so that involves deleting layers that are not helpful, adding things that are helpful, etc. So I have a solid option and a sketchy option, and what that looks like is we have these very solid lines. It's a little bit more formal of a look versus these sketchy lines that are a little bit more casual of a look. This is more my style. If you download the full thing, then the solid and sketchy options will be right here, or if you don't need one, you can always delete it. I'm just going to delete the solid ones for ease of access here, but everything you find in sketchy will also be available in solid. Now we have a few instructions here. Once you've figured out how to use these, you can delete or close that layer. Of course, this is our property. You're not allowed to share it. And then all the images are raster shapes. So as you change their colors over time, you might find that you get a little wonkiness. So you can always return to the original file. We'll delete our instructions, and it looks like we only have 3 things here. So we have our art layer, our client notes layer, and then our sketchy. And when you turn that on, you'll get a basic suite, invitation, DB card and envelope, details card, and then an open flap Euro envelope. But if you expand this, you'll see a few different options. So first of all, we'll turn on our little color palette up here, which I love to include on a sketch. And then you'll see die cuts, cards, envelopes, and embellishments. Most things are on their own layer. So this belly band, this wrap, we also have a wrap close, bows, etc. Those are all on their own layer. The only exception to this is in the die cuts, and that is just because I was hitting that limit and I didn't want people to have trouble downloading this file. So you will see that in die cuts, we have our round shapes, and then we have our other shapes, and these are based on shapes that came from Princewell, so they'll work for pretty much any like A7 wavy shape. However, I will say they are based on the Princewell options, which are very common for most of us. So if you do want to grab a certain shape, you can use your selection tool, select the shape that you want, click copy, then create a new layer. We'll call this one wavy A7. And then we'll click paste. And on this layer, we will have a new A7 option. So now we can get rid of the die cuts. If you use, for instance, this wavy A7 a bunch, just leave it as its own layer in your files so you don't have to redo that cutting and pasting process. We will want to make sure any new layers that we're going to draw on are below the art and notes layers. So I like to put something where it would go like near the cards and envelopes section. Now we have our cards and envelopes turned back on, but our A7 card we don't need anymore because we are going to use the wavy one. So we'll just go in there, find our 5x7 A7 card, turn it off. And then if you want to move the wavy into position, you can do that here. Now I would recommend grabbing any embellishments that you want. We'll just do a velvet ribbon and move it up into this section. Now, if you want to fill any of the options, you'll need to do that on the individual layer. So for instance, our color palette, we're going to fill on that specific layer. If you have a different layer selected and you fill, it will fill that full layer. So let's go ahead and get our colors settled in here. Now we can use our palettes to grab colors from Cards and Pockets, Princewell, Gamund, etc. Or we can, of course, go back to the disc or any of the other palette elements here in Procreate. In my work, I often do colored envelopes. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll select our RSVP envelope, grab this color, and change that. And then we'll change the outer envelope. Now, I tried for most of these to erase some of these lines so that they'll fill in one shape. As you change colors, these get a little bit more pixelated and that might get wonky. You can always return to the original file if things get a little wonky there. Now that we have everything settled, you're welcome to delete any layers that are not serving you, that you're not using on this project, whatever you want to do here. Again, this is for you to make this your own, so please have a good time and make it work for you. In the embellishments, we also have things like a stamp mock-up that you can use, gift tags, wax seals, etc. Now at the top, these are the two layers that I would recommend doing your sketching on. We have art goes here and then client notes. Your process will determine which you do first. In this case, I'm kind of just making up this sketch for this tutorial, so I will draw on the art goes here. And if you do want to do any back items, for instance, then we could just duplicate this layer, move one out of the way a little bit, and now we have a back that we can draw on. So let's just return to our art goes here layer, and we'll start drawing. You can use any of the brushes or drawing tools. You can stamp. You can use fonts if you want to do a more extreme specific sketch. I'm going to keep it pretty simple usually. I really like a very sketchy vibe, but that works for my style. The cool thing about this is that you can add whatever you want and whatever your style is to this template, and it's still going to save you a ton of time and energy. So let's say Lauren and Conrad. Anyone watch The Hills? We'll just do a single color coral to match that. We'll also do kind of a tonal coral here on the RSVP envelope. And for some reason, I just always automatically draw a stamp on this envelope, which I think is really funny. I'm going to do a white ink return address here. And I think I'm going to match these yellow stripes. I've been doing yellow stripes in everything lately. It's so cute. I love that yellow is having a moment. You can use layer masks to make sure there's no weird edges here. You can go back and kind of erase them. The fact that all your art is going to be on the same layer means that you can always erase and do other things. You can even like get rid of all this art and start over on the sketch if you want to do a couple of different variations. There's so many different options here, and I really want you to make these templates your own. So let's say kindly reply, and we'll do our details here, and I do want to just add a little some green elements. I think we'll just do some light greenery coming over here. I'm a very sketchy sketcher, as you can obviously tell. My goal is to get this process done, be quick, get on the same page with my client, or even myself. Sometimes I just sketch for myself. without ever even showing this to my client. So I just want to get on the same page with my client or even myself for design, but I don't really want this to be like some huge perfect thing. If that is your style, then the great thing about these sketch templates is that they can work for pretty much any style. So if you use the solid options instead of the sketchy options, you're going to find that it just automatically gives you a more refined look, even with all the same pieces. And the type of sketching that you do is all going to depend on your style, but these templates will work no matter what your style is, which is so fun. Just erase a little bit of this here where I went over. And in my opinion, this sketch is pretty solid. I could send this over to a client or start designing. The client notes option is great. You can either type, or sometimes I like to just select a color and kind of write some notes here. So we'll have like one color letterpress, and this I might say like, daisies or whatever this flower is, watercolor daisies, white ink returns. Lots of different options for how you can write client notes. Again, that's going to just depend on how much you like to give your notes. This right here, velvet ribbon, 1/8 inch. Okay, so now we have this sketch and it's ready to go. We can always export it just as a flat JPEG into whatever program we need to. And then when you're ready to start over, you literally can just clear these art and client notes layers, and then you can kind of start over. I'm sad, so I'm going to undo that. This is much prettier to look at. So I love having these templates here, saving a different option. Even if you just go into the solid section, you're going to find all the same pieces, just with those more solid lines. So it's a little bit more elegant, structured feel, depending on how you like to sketch your designs. So grab these sketch templates. I can't wait to see what kind of sketches you create. Make them your own. You don't have to do anything the way that I did it, but you can hopefully see how you can use all the different pieces in these templates to save yourself so much time and energy when you're sketching. Especially, I think the more you use it, the more it's going to be customized to you. You can even make your own palettes over here very, very easily. You just do a plus here, create new palette, and you can even create a new palette from a photo. For instance, if you want to upload one of your clients' inspiration photos, you can create a palette directly from that. Or if there's any other vendors that you use that we didn't provide, you can always add them in here and further customize. Then every time you copy and paste this template, it's going to keep all of the settings that you have already established in your specific file. I hope this was helpful in learning how to use these invitation sketch templates in Procreate. Let me know what questions you have about using these invitation sketch templates in Procreate. Super excited to share these with you, and I'll link them below in case you want to grab them.